objectives, foremost in a compliant manner, but in a disciplined manner towards a worthwhile objective. That's GRC. It's the control systems for a business. Next slide, please. Okay. So what makes GRC so difficult? For one thing, simply proliferating regulation around the world, and more importantly, as governments become cash-strapped in an only now recovering economies, proliferating enforcement. The number of regulations and non-regulatory business risks, such as geopolitical instability, like we see in some of the emerging countries today, such as Russia, are simply staggering and getting worse every day. Next slide. There are major qualitative costs and impacts to business that careen out of control without reliable governance, risk, and compliance processes and systems. Brand image is affected by all number of business disruptions, compliance and enforcement penalties. All of these types of things culminate in reduced customer satisfaction, lost opportunity, and reduced shareholder value. Next slide, please. To put a quantitative point on it, in a study done by the Ponemon Institute, companies that really don't show what's called reasonable care or don't even attempt to be compliant and take a position of ignorance that says, well, if I don't know about a risk, I can't really be held responsible for it. Those companies pay 3 times the cost of enforcement penalties than a company who may have stubbed their toe on a compliance issue, but had an earnest GRC process in place, an earnest set of internal controls, attempted to manage risk and comply with government regulation. Pay 3 times less than companies that really just say, well, what I'm doing today is good enough. Next slide. Again, risk incidents, loss of control, they all create a vicious spiral downward, disrupting operations, ticking off customers and shareholders as well, and ultimately undermining the brand through negative performance impact. Again, speed towards a direction is of no value if you're not in control of your own destiny and ensuring that the business is moving towards its strategic objectives and goals. Next slide. But if we turn that frown upside down, so to speak, GRC, keeping a highly tuned sports car that is your business pointed in the right direction, then risk, compliance issues, governance can represent a competitive advantage, an advantage of identifying opportunities, anticipating the risks, assessing your own risk appetite. Every opportunity comes with risk. Is the risk at a level that you can absorb within your organization to seize the opportunity? Avoid disruptions, keep customers happy as you move towards your goal, and overall optimize your performance by staying in control of your business. Next slide. SAP Governance, Risk, and Compliance Solutions can help you proactively balance risk and opportunity. Again, by simplifying governance, risk, and compliance, automating the staggering mountain of rules, regulations, and business risks that have to be addressed on a daily basis, both tactical operational risks and enterprise-wide risks and strategic risks, help you not only manage and automate those governance, risk, and compliance processes, but become a stronger partner to the business by gaining insight into, for example, where are my riskiest operations? What are the greatest risk-adjusted opportunities and returns that I should be chasing today? And what happens if we keep doing things the way we're doing? And then finally, GRC, SAP Governance, Risk, and Compliance Solutions help companies anticipate risks in advance, prepare for new opportunities, and for eventual or inevitable stub toes, and respond in a resilient manner, strong manner by minimizing risk and optimizing performance. Next slide. Today you'll hear from one of the best kept secrets in SAP's GRC partners ecosystem, Wiseman Consulting, who've done literally dozens of successful projects, quietly, methodically, and with great success. I say best kept secret because I only met Wiseman about a month and a half ago through contacts, and I was simply amazed, having been involved myself or monitored or been on steering committees for literally hundreds of GRC products. I was amazed that Wiseman had so many premier clients, had so many successful projects, and did it all essentially with dedication to delivering projects and really not making a whole lot of noise about themselves. So I encourage folks to make a lot of noise about Wiseman. They can help your company unlock the potential of SAP GRC to simplify, gain insight, and strengthen your company and speed down the road to business success. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Raj to talk about Wiseman's capabilities. Actually, before we do that, let's go to the next slide. I have a couple of customer cases. Let me just quickly run through. Next slide. Okay, the next slide's not populating on my screen.
Okay,
there it is.
There it is.
Okay, so just a couple of quick case studies that talk about real business value. Sharp Electronics, North American division, huge customer of SAP's and also other ERP vendors as well. They use other ERP vendors for some acquired operations. Needed a solution to help them manage segregation of duty concerns within their organization, and they applied SAP's access control solution, which you'll hear about today, and a new tool from SAP through our partner ecosystem with an ISV that we work with named Greenlight, and their solution called SAP Access Violation Management, helped Sharp reduce their IT personnel time required to manage SOD controls by over 80%. That represents about a 300-hour reduction in spend per month just on SOD control monitoring. And SOD is really the simplest, one of the most basic use cases the GRC solution supports. And they were able to increase the number of systems that they managed that were managed by access control by 1/3 simply by applying the connectors and the integration capabilities of SAP Access Violation Management, which opens the SAP Access Control solution to both non-SAP systems and legacy systems alike. Next slide. Natura, a cosmetics company within natural cosmetics company in Brazil, was able, again, using access control, to reduce their information security risk level by 87% by their own internal measures. Reduce audit costs by being able to provide audit reporting faster from the reporting capabilities within SAP GRC. So a 60% improvement in audit reporting, which resulted in a reduction of close to 15% in their audit costs. And finally, fewer transactions, so the ability to control role proliferation in their company as roles were getting out of hand before they had used, the number of roles and the number of profiles was getting out of hand before they applied access control. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Raj to tell you about Wiseman's capabilities and truly what I call one of the best kept secrets in our partner portfolio. Raj?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. Thanks for that information and introduction about the product and everything. Thank you so much. Yeah, can you go ahead with the next slide?
Guys, I think we're going to go into the company background first before Raj takes over. Let your brains kind of take a second, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Wiseman first in these slides. And Wiseman, we're a Houston-based global solutions provider with offices in Canada, Dubai, Hyderabad, and Pune, India. We're a woman and minority-owned company. And we specialize in integration, application development, analytics, smart grids, smart grid management, and support services. Our focus industries, although we're in many, but our focus industries are energy and utilities, oil and gas, healthcare, entertainment, retail, manufacturing, supply chain, transportation, and logistics. We've won accolades not only from clients like Centerpoint and BP, but we were recognized as the best technology vendor by agencies like Business Journal, Inc. Magazine, Ernst & Young, and for several years we've been recognized by the Houston Minority Business Council. As you can see, Wiseman has a very diverse portfolio, and we're going to show you a list of some of our esteemed customers on the next slide. Okay, this is just a partial list. It's not inclusive, but you can see there's a lot of name brands, name high-level big companies in this slide, and this is just a sampling of those companies. Next slide. I think we're going to go to Raj on the next presentation, but we just wanted to give you a breathing moment, let you know a little bit about Wiseman. So I'm turning it over to Raj now.
Thank you so much, Mary. Very good afternoon to everybody. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for giving the quick introduction about the product and the details about each of the product and the benefits, how GRC can be used and implemented in the organizations. So let me take you through the next about the GRC. Give me a moment. So as Kevin has already highlighted about all the solutions what are available from SAP, I wanted to take a quick second about to quickly take you through the SAP process control risk management while I go more in detail about access control. So process control and risk management are much enhanced in 10.10x going forward when compared to 10.0 and 10.1. From the older versions of 3.0. It made most of the stakeholders much better analyzing their business with the risk analysis or risk management can be done in a much better fashion. When I talk about the risk management, the risk planning, analysis, migration, and reporting are much enhanced as part of 10.x. And process control, when we talk about a process control, the policy management, the policy lifecycle management, and assessment views, analysis views are much more enhanced in 10.x. So they are the high-level highlights what I wanted to share in this particular session today. And I wanted to go more in detail about access control, which is a common solution which most of the customers are interested and widely have implemented the access control. When we talk about access control, it is when compared to 5.3, there are enhanced sub-features which are enabled in 10.x. So that is what I wanted to take you through. So the COP, if we take COP, next one is, let's say if you're planning to implement EAM or the ER business role management, enterprise role management, all are much enhanced in 10.x. When compared to 5.3, which is a dual stack, the 10.x is on a web stack. Yes, it has enabled most of the customers to enhance their user interface with a standard programming language, which is much dearest language for all of us from SAP. So the entire user interface is much more streamlined, and there is a common user interface for most of the screens, which has enabled most of the customers to perform the activities. I wanted to take in this slide and show the high-level dashboard view under the reporting structures, how it has been updated in 10.x when compared to 5.3. They are all called work centers, which in the next few minutes I'll take you through with these particular work centers and show you on a high-level screens how they look like. So the users can click on these particular links and then navigate onto the user interfaces screens, and they can get the reports downloaded. The reports are much more enhanced when compared to 5.3. By implementing 10.x, the customers are much benefited there, and they save time, as what just Kevin was explaining a few minutes before. The reporting structure is enhanced with crystal reports. We have pie diagrams, and then we can have a drop-down list, analytical views enabled much more better, and we have the details to get the detailed information which particular module has got a risk, what is the kind of a risk, how many users are there, what are critical risk, low risk, and very much detailed report is enabled from 10.x rather than when compared to 5.0, where you have to download the reports into Excel formats and get it uploaded and once again perform the manual activities in there. So they are all enabled by SAP, and a big thanks to them. Coming to 10.x, I would say 10.1, from 10.0, SAP has enabled features for HANA integration, and we have now the HANA connector enabled for GRC 10.1, and with the connector we can get into the much bigger reports analyzed faster with the HANA capability. We have content available to download to get downloaded and enabled with the BI systems, and get the customized reports what a customer wants to get, more customized to their business functions and business activities. So they are all enabled as part of 10.1 than 10.0. So that's where it is an enhanced feature which is going market what they want to get with HANA, and integrate GRC also with HANA. In this slide, I just wanted to present on a high level of the availability matrix, the product availability matrix. The mainstream of SAP GRC 5.3 will end by December 31st, 2015, whereas 10.0 is available till December 31st, 2020, while if you go with GRC 10.1, it is ready available with HANA component connector available, while the mainstream end is almost the same, rather it is same day for both 10.0 and 10.1 from SAP. So we recommend to go ahead with 10.1 and get all the benefits when you are starting with a migration, or if you are planning to implement GRC. The next slide, I just wanted to highlight what Wiseman has got the capabilities from GRC, as such from SAP Wiseman's capabilities. We are there from end-to-end, from architecture management, application support management, dual stack, single stack, migrations for the stack, security, GRC, non-GRC, SAP's SOD violation management, GRC level management, as well as SAP authorizations, role revamp. We have in-house capabilities with Wiseman who can perform and support you at any layer wherever you are looking for the support. And while I highlight those particular points, we are also there at the product and service support, not just at GRC, but other than GRC. Apart from basis, we do have functional support management, mobility management also in-house within our SAP practice, where we can extend our hand and support to our customers wherever they have their own requirements and whatever their requirements are. We do an end-to-end implementation and support expertise, not only from the SAP but let's say if the customers are looking from the database or operating system level, but if they need any additional support, we are there and we'll support it. Apart from the standard implementations, we are there. We do support project management, delivery management, end-to-end case study management, and analysis management, assessment management for our customers. So they are all the key technologies where we support and perform the support. These are the high-level capabilities which I wanted to share and part of the time constraint what we have as in today. Any customers who are interested in to go in more in detail about knowing our capabilities can ping us and let us know, or drop us an email and let us know, and we can get connected with one-to-one. And also we wanted to share the solution models and the support models what we have. We have a very diversified support models, and we can present more in detail and discuss more in detail to our esteemed customers who want to know in more detail. I just wanted to take you through the customer case study, what we have done for one of our customers. So the following customer is an industry leader for storage and memory management and manufacturing of the storage and memory management. So they had a GRC system with 5.3 available, installed, configured. So from the GRC 5.3, they want to migrate as each to 10.1 GRC as what we have assessed and recommended that they can go ahead in the last year. So what we have done is we have taken a couple of weeks and then done the assessment analysis done. And then once the analysis is performed, we understood they have 8 customized workflows which have to be migrated from GRC 5.3 to 10.1. We took a proper planning done around 10 weeks time to perform the migration plus the implementation of the customized workflows by using BRF Plus and MSMP configurations done on the 10.1, along with the customized notifications performed for the following customer. So they are all done from an offshore support model. As I said, we have saved the cost by using the offshore support model, one of the model for this particular customer, and reduce the cost, and we have quickly implemented, and then we bagged the customer's support project for the next 3 months as part of the GRC implementation and the support go live activities. We have done the migration as is from 5.3 to 10.1 and performed the next of the data export import steps, and then they are the key highlights, and we have implemented the ERM data import into 10.1, configure the customized workflows in 10.1 from 5.3. These are the highlights of the following case study. I just shared this case study because I want to take all the audience into the process flow. So I'll take you through the process flow, what we have done, how we have done the 5.3 to 10.1 on a very high level. The first prerequisite, what we have done is the migration prerequisite, which have to be fulfilled as part of SAP Access Control 5.3 and 10.1, following the standard SAP standard guides, and then from our in-house expertise who have 5.3 and 10.1 in-house expertise. So we have done the prerequisite requirement, performed, and then downloaded and installed migration tool in the system of 5.3. Target system prerequisites on 10.1 are performed. Then we have done a maintaining of the necessary configurations were maintained. We have created the users, and then the organization units are created in the area. While I presented the high level of it, now I take a minute to switch to the Excel and where I've collected the screen prints for this particular process flow demo. Just give me 1 minute, please. I hope now you can see my Excel file and the screen prints there. Mary, can you see, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So as I said, the first prerequisite is from Access Control 5.3 to Access Control 10.1 as a prerequisite. We have confirmed that the following add-on on a 5.3 system related support pack need to be updated to support pack 20. This is a prerequisite for us to start with the implementation of start with the migration step. So once the following add-on is updated, then from the 10.1 system, the related plugins have to be having the minimum base level of the support pack. Then there is a next step which is where we have to create a common shared directory for using the export and import files on the 5.3 system, and also the same SharePoint to be accessible from 10.1, the target system. Then the next step on a high level is the prerequisite. We download the installation migration tool. Yes, it is 10.0's tool which can be used on 10.1 for migrating from 5.3 to 10.1. This is already updated in the migration guide from SAP to clarify the customers. And the same migration tool is downloaded, which is a Java file, .sca file, which will be installed, deployed on 5.3 Java server. Once the following file is deployed on Java server, then we get onto the target system. We install the target GRC system on NetWeaver 7.4 with SP05. This is last year, so there were certain additional corrections done. We will validate the customer's requirement, and then we will further say whether this has to be further updated to next support pack or we are good with SP5 minimum. And then we install the add-on on the excuse me. We install the add-on on the target system, the GRC F&A add-on with V1100, which is applicable to 10.1. Well, support packs SP4 in the last year. Now it is upgraded to SP9. So the latest support pack is always good for GRC, where most of the issues or the problems or the requests from different customers, the new requests are all corrected, enhanced in the latest support pack. So they will be best to go on support pack 9. So that will be installed, configured, and then we get onto the system on 10.1 and configure the BC sets which are required, configure the basic parameters which have to be configured before we start the import process. That is, once we complete the export, we get into the import process. Before that, configure the prerequisites, create the prerequisites users, like to configure the EAM configurations to be done on the target system. Then create the organization and keep the organization configured so that the RAR data, that is risk analysis and review related data, that is whichever are the rule sets, whichever are the other mitigation controls, all those particular related data can be imported into 10.1 system. With this, I complete the prerequisites part. Then I go back to the export step. So before I switch on to the export step, let me go back to the presentation. Okay, the next step is to perform the export process, which I have put it on a presentation. I'll take you through the presentation a few minutes later. The next step is the export process. As part of the export process, we configure the master. The export can be done for the master data and the configuration data, which is available as part of 5.3. When I say that the transactional data or the historical data can't be migrated to 10.1 or 10.x systems from 5.3, this is already updated in the migration guide, and I wanted to highlight so that the users are very clear. There is a parallel system of 5.3 which needs to run as a solution for some time till you complete your audits, internal audits. Then you can take a complete backup of the 5.3 system for a long term or according to your internal policies, organization policies, and then you can continue to use the 10.1 system. So they are the parallel activities for the transactional log if you are looking for. So when I'm talking about configuration and master data, the the migration screen on 5.3 looks something like this, from which we can export the following screen. We can use the options there. We can select the common shared path which was created in the previous prerequisite step. We can select the following shared path and then use that particular path to perform the data export. Once we select the data export, there will be 3 steps which we have to perform. The first step is to select the objects. Under the objects, we will select the components which we want to get them migrated. SAP has given an additional option which you can select certain components and you can deselect if you do not want them to be migrated from 5.3 to 10.x. So we have further filtering options and other features as part of the selection screens. Then we review the objects as step 2. Once the objects are reviewed, still you have an option to filter it out, which options you do not want to migrate, and the files need not to be created. And once the second step is completed, the third step is you start the export of the objects, and you have the results. When you click on the start export, you have whether all the objects are completed the export, what is the result of the export in the next column. So the expert from the GRC end will review all the following things, and then he will confirm that the export process is all good, which are written in, as a standard files at the shared path where we have created in the previous step. Then for the export of SPM data, the super user management data, which is created in 5.3, we have a separate program which we need to run from SE38. We run the SE38 program, we select the SPM data as part of the program standard step, and then the files are created in the path where we have selected. And then those files will be used to import the SPM data into 10x system. So this is the export process. Then I take you through the import process. As part of the import process, the exported data, which is configuration and master data, can be imported into 10.1 system. We go to SE38 screen on the target system 10.1 where we have already fulfilled the prerequisites. We execute the SE38 and run the transaction, the program, the following program. The import screen looks something like this, and then we start the process. We select from which data, from which system you want to import the data. If we have a GRC 4.0, SAP has enabled us and given us a chance now to export the 4.0 data to 10.x systems. If you have a 5.3 system, you can select the 5.3 system where you have already exported the data. You can import that particular data, 5.3 data, into 10.x. If you have a 4.6 system, then you will use the 4.6 system's data and then configure it in 10.1 accordingly. When you perform the next, you will select the process type what you want to import. Let's say you want RAR process type, you want a workflow process type, ERM process type, CUP process type. Which is the process type you want to export and import into 10.1? As we have a single organization unit, we have put a star. If you have multiple organization units, if they are defined in the prerequisites, you will specify the specific organization unit and you will import those specific data. Now, what you will import can be also seen in the next step. You will select the path where you have all the files created of 5.3 export files. You will select the process type, what you want to import, and then you can append the data to 10.1. Once all the process types are imported into 10.1, then there is a log which confirms that the import is completed. The GRC expert verifies the overall load of the files, whether they are all loaded successfully. If there are any errors, they correct the errors and they perform the import again, and SAP has enabled us as an option to append. We select the append and we append the data once again to the system. Once the import is completed, we need to activate services. From SICF, the BC services will be activated and certain GRC services will be activated to get the system working. Then the BC set activations, we will just cross-check once again, and then the import process will be verified on overall from the system whether the entire import process is successfully done. So these are the high-level steps of prerequisite export and import. Now we take you through the next step of BRF Plus and the related customizations. One of the customers was checking with me how best is the customization, how best and good the customizations can be done. Excuse me, in GRC 10.1. SAP has given us an enhanced feature, multi-stage, multi-path. By using the multi-stage, multi-path function, we can use the standard workflows which are defined in SAP, and then we can configure most of the system to function as with the standard workflows, how the provisioning or the user provisioning or the role provisioning can be done on a system. Let's say if you have a requirement where like my past implemented or upgraded, migrated customer has, where they wanted to have a specific workflow to go, the specific workflow to work in such a way where the user, if they are provisioned for the finance roles, the finance approver has to approve it. If the user has got non-functional, non-finance roles, they should go to non-functional, non-finance roles approver and it should get approved. Such kind of a very customer-specific customizations can be done from BRF Plus. In 10.x, the BRF Plus screen looks something like this. The BRF as business rule framework. From the business rule framework, we have created ZGRAC ARQ access request initiator rule for one of the customers. So in the initiator rule, we have what we have done is we have created a loop logic and then a standard rules how the variables should work for such kind of a customizations. So as part of the rules, the variables what we have taken is we have done the rule logic and the entire customization done, the program done or the BRF logic done on business process, where a certain business projects process works, and if the value is positive, that is true, then the entire logic should work in the process where it goes to following approval. The workflow should work in following approval. And how that particular thing was done by creating rule and appending the logic in such a way, so that we get the entire information from the rules, and for all the roles which are done in the access request form are validated in one go from the BRF Plus. So it goes to the table contents, table operation mode, and then from the decision table, the variables extract the data from all the logic, and then they are put to the MSMP logic where the workflow is working. So that's how they are connected, and that's how they work. So this is the high-level screen and the BRF Plus, how we have built the logic and how we have created the custom workflow, and how the transition between MSMP and the workflows work, and at the front end, the navigation of the entire workflow happens, and the CUP request happens to the approvers. So I have taken back to the 7-step process of MSMP, where the BRF Plus customized workflow, what we have defined, is called, and then the process ID is defined. And from the process ID definitions, we go to the rules and we maintain the rules, who are the approvers and how the approvers should work, what are the notifications, how is the path that should take, and additional parameters. Let's say if the approval can happen via email, if the rejection can happen by an email, can the approver forward this request to other users? All the further functionalities which are provided by SAP default are activated, configured in 10.x. Once we configure all the 7 parts of MSMP, we go to the last step, that is the 7th step, and then we save and activate the version what we have configured in MSMP. So that will be a final version which has got all the workflows configured and how the customer customization should work in GRC 10.x. So this is MSMP and BRF capabilities, what we have, from what Wiseman has got, and how we have already delivered for one of our migration project what we have done. Now let me take you through the GRC rule sets. There was one request from our customers that the GRC rule sets, the default global rule sets from SAP, can they be customized and how are they available? Yes, the GRC global rule sets are available once in every quarter from SAP, which are enhanced, updated, as Kevin has just shared a few minutes ago. So we use the global rule set, download and upload to the system and make them configured. And then let's say if the customer has decided to get them updated on a quarterly basis, they can do it. And if a customer is looking for additional customizations by creating additional functions, customized functions which are more specific to the business process of the customer, they can add it. These are the screens from the work centers, how you can navigate to the user interface, click on create and perform the next of the steps to create that particular functions in the global rule set. I'm just giving you a high level screens because of the time constraints what we have. So we are already running short some time in between as planned. So let me take you through. So the access risk, we can get into the following screen and then click on the create button, and then we can click the additional risk IDs which are more, let's say if it is more customized to your business requirement, you can create the new rule IDs and perform, activate and get the rule set activated. In this particular request, there was one requirement where one of the customer was asking, can there be a rule set be put into the workflow as the global rule set is getting changed from which is provided by SAP? Can that be also approved by the risk owners, and how is that possible in the SAP system? I would say yes, that is possible. It is a standard workflow what we get from SAP. We add the risk owners, and then we add, this is one of the sample risks what we have done. We have created a risk ID, added the related risk owners, and then the workflow is created for that particular risk ID. And then we use the standard access request form to get this particular workflow floating, and the access risk owner approves it, and once the risk owner approves it, the global risk ID or the rule set is activated, or it gets activated in the system with the new risks which are created in the rule set. So this also happens as part of the standard process. There was a request for assigning a mitigation control. It is possible. You go through the work centers, get into the mitigated users, click assign and add the mitigated usernames, and then you provide the additional required details like you give the access risk ID, rule ID, control, and monitor for the mitigation control where you wanted to add in SOT mitigation users, and then save it. The mitigations are saved, mitigation users are assigned. So these are the high-level screens how the mitigation owner and users can be done. Mitigations can be added into the system. If there are changes to the owners and the owner assignments in your system, which is very common in any organization. So let's say if the ownership of a particular user is previously a firefighter ID owner, but now he has to be a role owner, and yes, it can be enabled and the other can be disabled, and we can save the option. say if a particular user is also added with a role owner and the medication monitor, they can be added from the following screen from one of the work center access request management work centers. You can just go to this particular page and then you can perform the activities. It is so simplified in 10.x and very well enhanced and available as screen flows from one standard screen, and then you can perform everything and save it. Role creation, I wanted to share here the role creation. From the access management tab, you can just navigate to the role management and then you can perform the role maintenance. Once the ERM is configured and depending on your customization or depending on the customer requirement and your requirement, you can configure steps as part of the enterprise role management configurations and all. So once the steps are configured, they can go onto each of the step and there will be a standard request which will be created as part of the access request, like as like an access request. So there is a clear identification who has performed the changes, what changes were performed as part of the role management, and how the new roles are getting created as part of the implementation done. So this is the high-level screen, how it looks like, and what is the method and how they navigate in the system for the enterprise role management. As part of the CUP implementations, access control CUP implementations, the role import needs to be done or the role upload has to happen. So the following screen, I wanted to share how the role import happens. There are 5 steps which have to be performed. The standard screen is the following screen, where we have a template from SAP. The standard template looks something like this, where we add all the roles which have to be uploaded into the system. We update all the mandate columns, and then we select, okay, the role as a technical role, the role is available, the role matrix file is available on the desktop, and it has to perform the following functions. The following are the connectors which it has to update, or the landscape it has to update. All the details are mentioned, and then we get on to the next steps, create a job, and then once the job is run successfully, we review it, the job. We review the roles are all coming correctly or not, and then we schedule the job. Once the job is completed, all the steps are completed, the confirmation is done, all the roles are uploaded into the SAP system. There was a question from one of the customers asking, how is the role risk analysis performed? Is there any step to perform the mass risk analysis? I wanted to answer, yes, it is possible, and it is very comfortable and very easy. It's a quick, easy steps in 10.x. So we use the work centers and then navigate onto the mass risk analysis step, and then we can add the roles manually, or we can select the file and then copy paste the roles with the screen what we have. And then we perform the submit. There will be a role run, there will be a job run, and finally we have a report to check the mass risk analysis in one go. In this screens, I wanted to show you the access management, the access request, how the access request is.
Raj, yes. I hate to interrupt you, but we're going to have to go to questions because we have about 3 that we need to answer for that. We're going to open up the mic and let people answer, but I've got 2 or 3 more that came up that I would like to get answered before we have to end our webinar.
Sure, okay.
Okay, Kevin has one that, how is the licensing done for GRC products if we plan to implement GRC access control, process control, and other solutions together? Kevin?
Yeah, so so each of the solutions access process risk management is based on essentially a user-defined metric. In the case of access control, it's monitored users, which roughly usually equates to your ERP users, but don't quote me on that. Your account executives will be able to help you come up with a number based on the user monitored user definition. And then risk management is tightly defined description of users, essentially power users of risk management. And with process control, it is also based on the power users, the control owners, if you will, of within risk management. There's very detailed language to explain how we scope it down to the specific set of users that we're talking about.
Thank you, Kevin. Raj, for you, can global rule sets, you may have answered this already, but can global rule set further be customized for specific business needs?
Yeah, thanks, Mary. Yes, that can be further customized. As I've explained you and showed the screenshots, it can be further customized and added with additional risks and functions additionally.
Okay, can CPU alone be implemented in GRC Access Control 10.1? Can CUP
Yes,
alone?
Yeah, people do implement only CUP. They just go with only the EAM implementations. Certain users just configure the EAM, that is emergency access management. They can be individually activated and configured and get the backend systems connected. That is possible.
Okay, can SAP GRC 10.1 be installed on NetWeaver 7.3?
Unfortunately, no. We have only as with the standard SAP the guides, the installation guides, SAP 7.4, NetWeaver 7.4 is required, recommended for implementation of GRC 10.1.
Okay, thank you guys. Now we're going to open up, we're going to unmute the phones and see if we have any open questions for anyone. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, this is Helen. I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for the presentation. So basically, the standard 5.x to 10.x migration tools and the procedures are pretty much standard, right? It is delivered by SAP. So I'm trying to, maybe we didn't get to the end of the presentation, but I'm trying to understand how Wiseman solution adds, what kind of things that Wiseman solution actually add or differ from the SAP standard available migration utilities and things like that.
Sure. Let me answer that question. Thank you so much for that capability question. What we have done is we have added value for the assessment, though the migration tools are available in standard for the past customer. The second thing is the past customer was having a default functionalities rule sets in 5.3, but they want to get migrated onto 10.1 to get the revalidation done. So we have additionally put in the expertise, in-house expertise to validate and show them how the original rule set has got migrated to 10.1 and what they have it. The third step is the migration of the workflows is not possible from 5.3 to 10.1. We have done the additional customizations on 10.1, BRF Plus, and as we have reconfigured the workflows.
Okay, well, yeah, well, actually, SAP standard utility, you are right, does not allow migration of workflows. So I was hoping that Wiseman does that. But from the presentation, let me just clarify, it actually doesn't do that. It doesn't migrate 5.x workflows to 10.x platform. You simply still have to configure them from scratch using the MSMP workflow and the standard BRF Plus rules, correct?
That is correct. If you have a customized workflows, it can't be migrated. But there are a default standard workflows which are very basic workflows which are configured on 5.3. If you want to migrate them, there is an option to migrate that particular data as a component which is there as part of the export component in 5.3. So we have used that particular component, done certain default workflows which are very basic from 5.3 to 10.1. For the customizations, we have added value, additional value for 10.1. On overall, with our in-house expertise, we have saved a lot of time to the end customer who have used Wiseman services and capabilities to support them.
Yes, from the consulting side, right.
Okay, who just asked the question? I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name is Helen Day.
Okay, thanks, Helen. I just didn't get your name.
Thank you for answering the question. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and sorry, we didn't get to finish the presentation. We just went a little long. And if you have any more questions or if you want to get with Raj and he can finish that on an individual basis, it's no problem. So is there any other questions out there? Oh, here's another question. How does this integration with SAP IDM work?
Integration with SAP IDM, that's a nice question, I would say. It works very good. where IDM is available as part of the NetWeaver, and IDM does the actual provisioning or the initial creation of the access request and all. The risk analysis and the other steps are connected to the GRC system, which is already implemented in the landscape, and then the risk analysis is performed as a step in GRC system, and then it gets connected hand in hand with IDM. And then if there are non-SAP systems, IDM can support more and support better for the access analysis or risk analysis or provisioning and other steps as part of the IDM.
Okay, thanks, Raj.
Kevin, anything you want to add in there, please?
Was there anything you wanted to add, Kevin?
No, I think you covered it.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, guys, what I really want to do is let you know that within a day or so, you're going to receive, a link to this presentation. It was recorded, and so you'll have access to it. So on behalf of Wiseman, myself, Kevin, and Raj, we'd like to thank you for joining us and taking time to view this presentation. And like I said, any additional information that you want or any more presentations on this, or if you need any additional information on any other inquiries that you see that we could be valuable to, don't hesitate to give us a call and contact us. And I think we're going to give you a little, maybe a minute or two back of your time. So thank you again, and we'll be glad to talk to any of you with anything that you need questions on after the webinar. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.